Embedded, evet.
Yani muhtemelen sorun olmalıdır. Yine de emin olamadım ama.
Çalışmazsa devam ederiz. Önemli değil ya. Thank you. I don't have a card. I'm sorry. I have, but I forgot to bring them. Let's get started. Hocam başla. Sorry. Let's get started. Of course. Good afternoon. Hello there. Hello.
Good afternoon.
Hello, how are you, Dr. Janet?
I'm great, sir. Dr. Tanju, Deveci.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so good luck on your presentation.
Thank you very much. We're just starting, okay.
Yeah, I thought we are on plenary already. Why is it that?
I don't know. This is one of the sessions, really, not plenary. But you can consider ours as plenary if you want. We'll be
No,
honored.
I'd like to listen. I'd like to listen. Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you very much. Okay,
Okay.
dear participants, thank you very much for being here. We'll get started. I wish we had a bigger crowd, but what can we do? People are a bit tired probably already. We'll get started. Okay, Dr. Majid and I will be chairing the session. Dr. Majid is here. Is Intan here? Intan? Dr. Intan? Okay, thank you very much. Chakar, Hajar, you're here, Doctor. Thank you. And Mehmet Can, oh, you're here as well. Okay, we're all here. I'll get started, okay? We'll just change the order a bit in the schedule. I'll start first and we'll give the floor to Dr. Majid and then Intan will present. Anyway, okay. Yeah, okay. I'll be talking to you today. Oh, what happened to this? It's gone. Oh my gosh. What happened? Is that the one?
Yep, the HDMI.
Oh, thank you. You're experienced.
Just from the previous session.
Thank you. It's coming on, I think. Let me see. Is it? Looks, it's no. So, oh, the technician. Where is the technician?
Tanju, you're in Abu Dhabi.
Yes.
Khalifa University.
Yes.
Oh. Okay.
Oh my God! What happened here? Yes, you're very okay.
Hang on, no, you don't see it here.
No, I don't see that. Oh, that's more.
Duplicate. Which one is duplicate? This is duplicate. Okay.
Okay.
Yep.
But I see this. Oh, okay. Oh no, I'm not sharing it on Zoom.
You have to click on.
Zoom stopped.
It's in Turkish. Tamam, it's okay.
Yeah, tamam is okay, but we're not sharing it.
Okay.
Click on the ekran. Okay.
Should be able to see
Okay,
it now.
Dr. Janet, do you see the presentation? Dr. Janet, do you see the presentation? Oh, okay. Okay, I'm starting.
I can see the first slide actually. It's on your
That's the first slide.
title.
Yes. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. This is the title of my presentation. I'll be talking about the 8th lifelong learning competence, which is cultural awareness and expression. If I can continue. The arrows don't work? Okay, now, yes, okay. Okay, let's talk about first what is lifelong learning and why lifelong learning. There are a lot of different types of definitions of the term, but one that I quite like is by Jarvis, the process of transforming experience into knowledge and skills, resulting in a changed person, a person who has grown and developed as a result of learning. I'm very keen on this definition. Okay, obviously educational institutions have a big role. Universities are at the heart of it as well. The attitude, knowledge, and skills necessary for lifelong learning can be developed or should be developed by educators, educational institutions. And it's also important for students at any level, in fact, to acknowledge and respect other people's experiences, attributes, and beliefs, which is linked to the 8th lifelong learning I'll be talking about. Okay. We need to help learners increase their awareness of their own and others' cultures and express themselves in multiple ways. Okay, that brings us to the topic of the 8th competence. European Commission identified a while ago, in fact, identified 8 key lifelong learning competences. Many of them received a lot of attention from researchers and education institutions. The last one, interestingly enough, hasn't received much attention. Last one is defined as the appreciation of the importance of creative expressions of ideas, experiences, emotions in a range of media. This could include music, performing arts, literature, and other visual arts. It includes 3 aspects: knowledge, skills, and attitude, the definitions of which are here, which I'm not going to read, right? And as I said, there is so much research dedicated to other aspects of lifelong learning, but the 8th key competence hasn't received much attention. Why? Because creative acts take a lot of time, right? It eats up classroom time. So people trying to cover as much as possible in the curriculum, they might easily skip such things. And other elements of personality traits, including creativity, right? These could be considered disruptive by some teachers, so they skip. They tend to skip such things. But there is a tight link between creativity and academic and social performance. In fact, creativity increases students' test scores, inspires students to become curious, engaged, and interested. It improves intercultural communication. Right now, researchers, what does it say there? I can't read, but yeah, okay. I am located in the UAE. I'm Turkish, but I am located in the UAE. So in the UAE context, there isn't much research done on this area. Now, Westerners compare East and West quite often, and they tend to see a big difference in terms of creative acts between East and Middle East and West. I don't want to generalize it, but there is that tendency in the literature. They say in the West, there is quite a bit of focus on creativity, arts, and cultural expression, and they say in the Middle East, in particular Eastern societies, people refrain from this. They are taught to refrain from this act, which is gravely wrong. There is research showing that in the Middle East, there is quite a lot of attention to arts. It's a fabric of life, in fact. And recently in Dubai, there is the Museum of the Future, very recently opened. A significant thing. I haven't been in it, but it's they spend so much money on that. It is artistic. And there is in Abu Dhabi we have Lure. Interestingly enough, Lure. receives a lot of attention from tourists, a lot of art. And they are building the Guggenheim Museum in Abu Dhabi. And there is another one being built called Zayed National Museum. Zayed is the father of the nation there. And look at the pieces of art from the region. You can see their culture, right? This is a painting, right? Now this shows their dances, UAE Emirati dance. Okay, this is, I think it's a photograph, I'm not sure. This is Abu Dhabi. You see handicraft, and there is sand art. These are only a few samples of artistic expressions in the region. Now, considering all these and my students' needs, I wanted to, focus on creativity a bit and see how students' lifelong learning improves, if it improves at all. So in a course on intercultural communication, I changed the focus a bit. This is the course in general. So it is quite friendly. It's quite friendly towards the 8th competence, lifelong learning competence. So what I did, I created some new tasks and related those to the learning outcomes, etc. Here are some assignments. The descriptions are there, but we don't have time to read this. Regulators of identity was one of these. Another one was countries. I asked them to look at different aspects of different countries, things like non-verbal communication, high versus low contact, etc., etc. And then they also had a task on cultural expression through arts. Another one was cross-cultural adverts. They created an advert advertising their own culture. Another one was called a category of arts and intercultural communication. Because the course was on intercultural communication, I wanted to merge that with the idea of a category of arts. Right, and then I asked myself these questions. Okay, do their pre and post-test scores from the survey I used differ? And I was curious about their own opinions about the extent to which they thought their cultural awareness and expression has improved as a result of their engagement in the intervention I planned. If so, what particular aspects of the course they thought have contributed to the improvement? So in this sense, it had both quantitative and qualitative aspects. Very small group, obviously, they were my students, so there were only 23 students, majority were female, and kind of young people, freshmen, sophomore students generally. Okay, and the quantitative data I collected using a survey which I myself created. It looked like this: knowledge aspect, attitude aspect, and skills aspect. And then for the qualitative data, I used a reflective writing task, and I asked these two questions to them. So they wrote. Okay, very briefly, the results, as you see, there was a big, significant difference, statistically significant difference between their pre-test and post-test results, both for the scale as a whole and the subscales as well. If you look here, the third subscale, skills, there was an increase, but it wasn't as much of an increase as the other two. When I asked them, when I looked at their reflective writing, asking how much they thought the competence has increased, they used these adjectives and adverbs to describe the difference. And then I asked what particular aspects of the course or assignments, etc., helped them to do this. And the first one, which they found very, very significant, was the book itself. I'm not the author of this book, so I'm not trying to advertise it, but they like the book. Although certain aspects of the book, we instructors thought were not compatible with the culture in the UAE. So we skipped a few cultures about gender, you know, different genders, homosexuality and those kinds of Western things. We couldn't speak about those things. So we skipped those bits. Maybe that's why they didn't, they were not bothered, I don't know, but they liked it. Some student voices. Another one, the cross-cultural advert class. They really liked that. You'll see some samples of this. They created an advert. Here's a sample. Can I not move this, I wonder? Another one. They look very simple, but they put a lot of thought into these things. The term project was a longer thing. Now they wrote a paper on that. What happened? Yeah, they wrote a paper. It was it's supposed to be academic in a sense. So they wrote a paper. Okay, and they presented their work. Let me see if this works. I hope it works. They created some videos.
Hello everyone, my name is Raiha and today in this presentation I'm going to talk about the creative art. Something is always born of excess. Great art was born of great terms, great loneliness, great inhibitions, instabilities, and it always balances them. It goes by a nice link. This just basically means there are thousand meanings behind a particular art. So the three main things that I'm going to talk about is what is the creative art, the history behind it, and how it's practiced in other countries.
We don't have time to watch all of it, but it gives you an idea. I mean, the girls in particular, they're not keen on presenting with their own images, right? So they use animations, which is quite creative. It's better to me, right? So they were quite, oops, okay, let's move on. Okay. So other kind of presentation. So they looked at Iran. They never been to Iran, but they read about these things. You see, so they look at different countries. Yeah, they compare Iran and Rome, for example, in this case. And they also look at it, yes, from their own perspective, countries, Muslim countries. So there's a big comparison going on here. In that way, they became aware of their own cultures as well as other cultures. And they had some seminars where they presented the topics. They engaged their own friends, which they liked. And the other one was countries. They investigated countries different from theirs, their own. Another one was cultural expression through arts, which they liked quite a lot. Now, again, they wrote something and decorated that with pictures. One looked at Frida, regulator of identity. Okay, there you go. There are different regulators like gender, class, religion. And they wrote, because this was supposed to be academic paper, I kept them writing and kept asking them to write and write and write. So what does it all mean? Right, okay, as the results suggest, I mean, designing a course to enhance students' lifelong learning skills, in this case, the 8th key skill, yields positive results. And in the literature, there has been, nice results mirroring that. Okay, and so we think, I mean, some other friends also help me with this, obviously. Metacognition requires purposefully designed instructional interventions. We can't just expect students to pick up these things by chance. All right. So this was in the context of my intercultural communication, but that could be done within other courses as well. We talked about the skill side of it. Students need more hands-on practice to improve their skills. Right? Okay. Yes. Anyway, very, very briefly, this is what I've got to say. I think I've spoken quite a bit now. Any questions?